Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It is July of 2018 now. I started this month off quite well with the 4th of July Spectacular. I really enjoyed working on that particular video, to say the least. What was kind of funny about it, though, is some of the scenes that I didn't consider that important were actually ones that I could only get it in one. That hot dog scene, I only had one hot dog. And that rum and coke thing is I only had a little bit of rum and that one can of coke, which was actually rather expensive, surprisingly. That I was actually looking for one of these weird bottle cans. It was a can that was shaped like a bottle. I got one a long time ago, and I thought I'd get that, and it looked really cool. But alas, such a thing could not be found, and I went to several different stores too. That one 12-ounce can of coke was $1.19. And you know what? I don't drink high fructose corn syrup sodas anymore. And man, that thing was nasty. That plus the rum was pretty nasty, although I'm told I should have used way less rum and way more Coke. But whatever, it looked cool. I really enjoyed doing the AR-15 segment. I was really concerned about that, though, just because of the way Googlog is these days. And Googlog is quite annoying. I always recommend, ringing the bell, so to speak, but even that won't save you when it comes to actually getting updates, which is really, really, really aggravating. To put things in perspective, the highest viewed video right now, well, in the last few months, is like 600 views. When I first put up Resident Evil 1, the review, I got 1,000 views in a day! A day! But thanks to all the algorithm changes and stuff like that, we're doing good to break 600 views in like a month. So, these things happen. I'm not going to sit around going, #destroy Google. Although, I am going to be trying to do some stuff on Twitch, see if I can get any better fortunes with that. I spent some time setting up Streamlabs OBS, so that should look a little more professional, I should hope. For this month, we're going to be taking a look at 2 Duke Nukem games. Duke Nukem, the Doctor Who Cloned Me, which I'm actually working on as I record this. Well, not as I record it, but you get the idea. And Duke Nukem 0 Hour. So we got one really shitty game and one really good game. Because 0 Hour is even better than I remembered. There's going to be an outdoor adventure this month because I'm not going to be able to get to the range to do any revolver shooting. Because that's going to be the next gun review, the Rock Island M200. I'm actually going to the range this month to shoot something completely unrelated. That's not even going to be reviewed, so yeah, whatever. You're going to have some more outdoor adventures coming soon just because I'm not going to be able to get to the range to shoot the gun I need to review because there's some other guns I want to shoot just for personal enjoyment. Also going to be bringing back the cooking special as well. I haven't done that, haven't started work on that yet, mainly because I can't find the proper recipe for, I almost said turtle soup. That's not what that is. I've never even had a turtle before. I don't think I really want one. It sounds kind of nasty, to be honest. Tortilla soup is what I'm trying to make, and I can't find the right recipe, which is quite aggravating. Some of them call for ground meat. Some of them have, like, bell peppers in it. Like, no, I'm looking for a very specific one. I can't remember what's in it because I haven't made it in years. I do know it's one of the ones with chicken, corn, and some other stuff, but I can't remember what it is at the moment. Once I figure that out, I'm going to get to work on making a video on that. I had a fan send me a recipe for some sort of Slavic dish that doesn't look disgusting. That actually looks like it might be halfway decent, so we're going to do that after the tortilla soup thing. Let's see. There's going to be an outdoor adventure to the USS Lexington, and I'm really looking forward to that, and an outdoor adventure to a maritime museum that has a reproduction of an old sailing ship, which I think is going to be really, really cool. After those are done, I'm going to try to get to the range and actually do some serious shooting with that M200, and then after that, going to try to get that number 4 Mark 1 done. The rest of the year's reviews should be pretty good. You will already know about them if you are supporting on Patreon for $1. There's not going to be any more comic reviews, though, simply because no one watches them, and they take so much time and so much effort to complete. You know, Batman versus the Predator, I thought that might get some views, but it got less than 300, and no one seems to be caring about it at all, which is quite aggravating, because I thought, at the very least, Batman versus Predator would have a name people would be interested in, but, well, such is life. And it just doesn't, it's just not worth it to me to put that kind of effort into it to have no one actually watch it. So yeah, that's annoying, but to be expected these days, I suppose. Also, I want to thank a kindly donator who donated me Rise of the Tomb Raider during last week's live stream. I'm going to try to continue live streaming once a week on Saturday. This week I'm going to be streaming on Twitch using that Streamlabs OBS, and it's going to be another Left 4 Dead live stream, but this time of the original Left 4 Dead 1 campaigns. I'll of course be releasing a special video announcing when that's going to be. Any more news that's going to be? This has something to do with reviews or anything like that, but it's just something that I found rather interesting, is that these days I only will read independent science fiction and fantasy. Why? Because mainstream stuff has gotten way too political. Everything has become very political these days, from games, books, and movies and all the rest. Although, as of this recording, it looks like Ant-Man and Wasp isn't political, and so I'm heartily looking forward to seeing that as of this recording a few days from now. So, I don't know if I'm actually going to give a review of that or not. I might talk about it in a Let's Play or something, but in any event, science fiction has gotten very political these days. But independent science fiction is not, or at the very least, it's not SJW. Let's put it that way. You can primarily find it on Amazon, and you can get the books for either free or 99 cents, which I like quite a bit. They're all ebooks, but you know what? Save money wherever you can. One writer in particular, other than Chris Nuttall, who I've mentioned before, he was the one who kind of got me into the very concept of independent science fiction. I'd always thought for the longest time that self-published works were, hack writing that it wasn't good enough to be published, But having read Chris Nuttall's stuff and then moving on to some of these other writers, wow, so this is where all the good writers are. Whatever next? B.B. Larson is a writer I discovered. He wrote he's written a number of stuff, but the one I'm reading now is the Star Force series. And it's really, really well written, but it's really depressing at the same time. But not in the way that so many other writers, more published writers, act. Published writers are dark for the sake of the dark. They're trying to copy George R.R. Martin's darkness crap. But B.B. Larson does it a bit differently. He actually keeps it fairly upbeat. But the events that take place in his novels usually require high body counts. Case in point, the Star Force series starts out with some alien AI starship showing up on Earth, abducting people to be command personnel. If you fail the test that one of these AI ships gives you, you die. Not because the AI is evil or gets off on torturing people, but literally just because, well, it's a machine. You failed, therefore you reach the fail state, boop, gone. And it's an interesting look at how AIs would think. For a computer, it either is or it isn't. There's no middle ground. It's a 1 or a 0. So if you succeed, that's great. If you fail, you don't. You die. And they're very literal-minded. AIs and computers in general are very literal-minded. Computers are stupid. They only do what you tell them to. Case in point, in the book I'm reading now, it's the second book in the series, they're on this AI starship, right? And they want to put up some passive sensors on the outside of the ship. Well, there's guard robots. And so the main character is going to send these technicians out to put this stuff up. Well, the guard robots won't move. And so he's like, well, move the guard robots. And the AI says, where are you? And he says, well, I'm here. And the guard robots shoots the two techs. Why? Because the machine only said he could do it, not anyone else. See, that literal mindedness is, but it's bloody mindedness, but they're a machine. They don't have emotions. They don't know what they're doing is right or wrong. It's just, you said you were going to do it. That's not you. Boop, dead. So it's really quite an interesting examination of AI, and I'm really enjoying that quite a bit, even though it is pretty depressing because people get shot all the time by the alien robots because, well, they don't care about humans because a human either does what because they can only follow their program. It's really an interesting little... It's something that a lot of writers don't do. They don't actually look at how an AI would think. Skynet is way too emotional for a soulless AI. So, yeah. Let's see, there's another independent science fiction writer read recently. M.R. Forbes is his name. He wrote a really interesting time travel sci-fi book. It's with a really interesting main character as well. It's called Starship Eternal. Haven't read any of the rest of the series yet, but I read the first book and I was quite impressed by it. Starship Eternal actually introduces a really cool concept for time travel that I hadn't seen before. Basically, in infinite time, there's only finite amounts of things you can do. So time is completely cyclical. Basically, here I am alive. Well, 10 trillion years later, here I am alive again. It's an interesting idea. I don't know how accurate it would be scientifically, but then again, we don't really know how time really works anyway. So, yeah, it could work. It makes for an interesting plot point at the very least. Let's see. I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a independent fantasy story series that I started reading that I can't remember the name of either because it was a number of weeks ago. But it had an interesting plot where humanity has to live on top of mountains because some wizard created this magical cataclysm that destroyed all of civilization, and there's giant monsters that wander around on the surface of the plains, and if you don't live on the mountain, you die. It's an interesting series, great characters. If I could remember what it was called, I would tell you. Let's see, anything else? I'm trying to think. Any other updates on anything? Actually, that's it for now. And so, I am GeneralLotz, wishing you good, M.R. Forbes, and good B.V. Larson, whatever makes you happy.